Hi everyone, this is my review of Western Front from Little Big Horn Games, and this is a World War One card game. If we have a look at the back of the box here, 2 players, half an hour to play, 30 minutes, which I would agree with. It's quite a quick playing game. I do have most of their, in fact I think I've got them all, games in this series from this publisher. Okay, so we'll have a look at the actual cards themselves. It's very striking graphic design for the cover. It's one of the things I like about the game series. They have a very unique, striking sort of visual style that I really like. So let's just move these away here. So here are our cards, and as we're talking about striking graphic design, that's quite a design. So these are all the back of the cards, and then we have our, which we'll have a look at in a second. Then we have our rules. Now the rules in this game series actually come on the cards themselves, and it is, as you can see, quite a straightforward game because there are only 3 cards of rules, double-sided. Once you've learnt to play one game in the series, I think you can pretty much take very quickly to any of the games, but you don't need to have played any to play and enjoy this one. So I'm just going to move those to the side. Let's have a look at some of the actual cards themselves. So here we have all the different battle cards. Just going to move them in the camera a little bit better there. So all the different years, so 1914 through to 1918. Very elegantly done. A very nice graphic style. I do really like the artwork in general. Here we have some more cards here. Dogfight card. Again, very elegantly done. Very tanks, that's what we like. They're absolutely great. And so forth. And then we'll have a look at a closer detail of the cards in play in a second. We'll look at actually how the game plays, but I just wanted to show some of the quality of the visuals for the card, because as you can see from the cards themselves, they don't have a huge amount of information. They don't need a huge amount of information for the game, so they're very graphic, very clear, the content. So for example, here we've got a flamethrower card, and there's a little bit of gameplay information on the card, but elegantly laid out. It's very clear the sort of game mechanics associated. Now with this series of games, because it's a small form factor, I have taken these on holiday in the past, camping trips, and so forth, to play with my family, because it's quite a quick playing, thematically, historically themed series of games. And the actual quality of the cards, the actual physical quality of the cards is very nice. And some of these games have been on numerous family holidays with us and have stood the test of time. So the quality of the cards is absolutely great. Again, more cards. Again, very clear. So next thing we'll have a look at the game on the table. So next up, I've laid the cards out in a fashion really to help illustrate their usage in the game. This is not actually how you lay them out in the game, but it's to help describe what the cards do. So here we have the year cards. So we've got 1914 through to 1918, and during the game you are fighting for each of these different years. The first player to have won 3 of these is the winner of the game. So you start off with 1914. How do you win a year? Okay, you will be conducting, between you and your opponent, 7 battles, and to conduct a battle you are using the battle cards. So one player will be the Germans, one player will be the Allies, and we'll have a look at the battle cards in a second. In addition to that, as you're performing the battles, there are event cards. To start with, you don't actually need to play with the event cards, but they do add a nice level of depth and more uncertainty to the game. Maybe the first few times you'll play the game, you'll choose not to use them, but I think they add quite a lot. In this particular case, this one here, I'll be using this example. This means that all the attack cards receive a -1. So there we've got our battle cards, of which you get 7 each of those, because you'll be conducting 7 battles. Got our event cards, and then we have our Allied and German tactic cards. Now these you play, you don't use all of them. You choose a method to select between 3 and 5, and again you don't have to use them, but again I'll illustrate why they do add quite a lot to the game experience, and again another layer of depth to the game. And you get a bunch of those for the Allies and the Germans. So for example here I've actually got an Allied tactic card here, and I'm going to use a mock-up battle to show how you will play through a battle. So what I'm going to show now is an actual battle and how you resolve a battle, and in doing so it will help describe the key core mechanics of the game. And I'm just going to play a simple battle, an example of a battle, so you can understand that. Now again, I've just laid the cards out here to do that. When you're actually playing with an opponent, you wouldn't have them laid out in this pattern. I've just laid them out just for the purpose of the video. So, one player is the Germans, one player is the Allies. The Allied player is picking a tactic card and a battle card. The German player is just picking a battle card. You don't have to pick a tactic card. You don't have enough to pick one for every battle. There are 7 battles. You would only have between 3 and 5 tactic cards, so you can't pick a tactic card every time. Now, if you've picked a tactic card, then you resolve those first. The Allied tactic card is the Allied player with the aerial reconnaissance card here can view your opponent's battle card and change yours this battle only. If your opponent uses aerial reconnaissance as well, they cancel each other out. So for example, if the German player had also picked aerial reconnaissance, then they would cancel each other out. But in this particular example, they didn't. What this enables the Allied player to do is look at the German battle card. Now the German player has gone out for a gas attack with an attack of 6. And the Allied player had chosen a bringing up the reserves card with a defense of 2. Battles are very straightforward. They are simply resolved by the highest number with any modifiers, which I'll come to in a second. Well, 6 massively beats 2, so the German player would have won. However, and this is where it starts to get the level of depth in the game, because the player had chosen this tactic card, they can look at that card and go, "Ooh, goodness! Well, my defense was never going to beat that." So, with this card, I can actually swap this card out for a different battle card. So the player would be able to look through their different battle cards, like so, and pick one. Each card has a value. So defense of 7, attack of 8, attack of 6, so forth. So what the Allied player would do in this example is that they will play make sure that's the best one they would use. Yes. So the Allied player has now picked a defense of 7. 7 now beats the attack of 6. So the Allied player will have won that battle. It goes on their side of the table, and they've won that battle. There are 7 battles, as there are 7 battle cards, and the player who has won the most battles of that 7 wins the year. So they've won 1 year. Now, where it gets also interesting, in this example here, remember the event cards I talked about earlier in this video? Well, the event card that's in play at the moment is Mud. All attack cards -1. This is an attack card of 6. So actually the value of this card wouldn't be 6, it would be 5. The defense is still 7. Mud doesn't affect the defense value, it only affects the attack value. It doesn't make any difference this particular example, but it's a key component. What the effects of the event cards are can modify the values and other gameplay implications of the actual battles. And the tactic cards, this one here for example, again can modify it. So what you have is a series of interlocking mechanics that's actually very straightforward. In this example I've chosen to use tactic cards and event cards and performed a battle. So you can see for yourself how streamlined the game mechanics are, but also how they are impacted, this simple value comparison, by the event cards and by the tactic cards that you have. Let's have another look at those battle cards. So again, we've got values from 8 for the attack to 4. Neutral card with a value of 1, another defense card with a value of 2. And this is pretty much mirrored across the German cards as well. Completely different artwork. I love that piece of artwork. And again, we can compare that. And again, the game has a very nice graphic style. So we've got two cards that are the same, one for the Allies, one for the Germans. Same value, but completely different artwork. And graphic styling is very similar, but again, very nicely done. So in conclusion, what I love about this game, I love the physical components. The cards are great. They look great. They have this really distinct visual styling that I really appreciate. I love the little, very compact box and lids. And they're kind of a nice chunky. I don't know if that's a good descriptive word, but that's the word I'm going to use. A really nice tactile, chunky feel to them. And it's a game that, like I said, I've thrown it into suitcases, played it at home with my family. Some of these games have travelled all over, and I thoroughly enjoy it for that. Yeah, I love all the art styling. All the artwork is absolutely fantastic. It's very stylish. I think the graphic style is very elegant. It's quite impactful. There's a sort of a somber tone to the game, but it also a very respectful tone as well, which I really appreciate. The gameplay, the core mechanics of how those battles work, I think is elegant and simple, but it has this involving other mechanics that layer on top, such as the event cards that I showed and the tactic cards, and all those mechanics combined, I think work brilliantly well together. It's a game that's actually very straightforward to teach and to show someone how to play. And from experience, people will pick this up literally in minutes of how to play. It's very straightforward. But there's a lot of choices you have to make. Not only are you choosing what battle cards to use, you're choosing whether you're going to use a tactic card or not, and you're sort of reacting to the event card if you're playing with those as well. And I think that's a really strong point in the favour of this game. You do not have to play with those. You don't have to use the event cards. You don't have to use the tactic cards. So when you're first learning the game, or you want to play a very quick game, then just simply picking the those battle cards is a really sort of fast flowing, fluid gameplay experience. Doesn't take long to set up and play. I mean, it takes minutes to set up, and comfortably can be played in half an hour. And it is, as I've said, it is a game series that we have thoroughly enjoyed for quite as long as this game series has been around. So a high recommendation from me. I think it's a brilliant, fun, 2-player, quick playing, historically authentic and thematic feel, beautifully laid out artwork, and quality of the cards is excellent. So yeah, high recommendation. And thank you for watching as ever. Thank you.